Attention, attention, all personnel. Incoming podcast. This is MASH Matters.
Welcome to MASH Matters. My name is Ryan Patrick, alongside my friend Jeff Maxwell. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Ryan Patrick. I am Jeff Maxwell. I've been Jeff Maxwell for a while, and I'm going to continue to be him for as long as I possibly can.
Well, there's a lot of money in it, right?
Well, I'm going to continue to be him as long as I possibly can. That's about all I can say.
Hey, we're going to just jump right in here because we have not one, but two special guests with us today. Because today we're going to be talking about our beloved friend, Loretta Swit. We have some special folks with us today who spent a lot of time and a lot of years working with Loretta. Jeff, would you like to introduce our guests?
I would like to introduce our guest. We have two guests, as you say. One is a wonderful woman named Andrea Wallach. We call her Ange. And she doesn't like that, but we do it anyway.
No, I love it. It's so cute.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the other is Mr. Harlan Boll.
And I'm afraid of what you'll call me.
And they are both business associates and personal friends. Just very quickly, Harlan is a PR, public relations genius, and he's worked with many, many famous celebrities over the years, and he worked with Loretta also in that capacity, as well as being a friend. So we thought it would be wonderful to have him on and talk about his experiences and how they got together and his friendship with Loretta and so forth and so on. And I'm just going to read something real quick that Loretta wrote. I found this letter. She wrote it about Harlan. Harlan is a dear friend, but why should I disqualify myself on that score? I am still able to rave about his expertise, his tact, his insightful suggestions, and thoughtful strategy. He has patience. He is fair. He is committed. In a business rife with hyperbole, he remains among the few in his arena who deserves the praise and respect. And Andrea, I don't have one of those written, but I'm sure she did. I know that you and she knew each other for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we're very, very close friends. So we're all going to be here. And I thought it would be fun to have just this conversation about friendship and about all of our collective friendships with Loretta, sort of apart from talking about MASH and the show and all that kind of stuff, because Ryan and I have done that for 5 years.
Eight years.
8 years. And we've covered most of those subjects, but the friendship that we've all had and we all had with a remarkable woman is something I thought would be an interesting thing for listeners and for all of us to go through, because we're all kind of still, attached and kind of grieving over the loss of somebody like that and our dear friend. So anyway, and I don't want this to be maudlin, want this to be as fun and upbeat as possible, but also to go through the personal relationships that we had. Ange, can we start with you just for the heck of it and say, hey, how did you meet Loretta?
Well, it's really the most sort of New York organic story, and it's so Loretta that you could possibly even imagine. We both had little dogs, rescue dogs, of course, and she was living in an extended stay place when she was still sort of bi-coastal, and our dogs were on the same potty schedule. So in New York,
we get right into the potty schedule. That's interesting. Yeah,
we do all about that when you have dogs. And I every time I pass her, I'm like, well, she kind of looks like Loretta Swit from MASH, but she's just walking down the street like a regular person in PJ pants and no makeup. So that really can't be her. And we did the New York head nod, because when you live in New York, you're not like, oh my God, that's like, she's a celebrity. So I was like, and I wanted to respect her personal space too. And our doggies became friends. See, good things happen with rescue doggies. And like I said, it was just an organic friendship. It wasn't like, oh my God, let's have dinner 3 nights a week. We just sort of gradually became friends. And so did our dogs. And it was so funny because that was when she had Chattahoochee, who she called Munchie. And she's like, Munchie doesn't like too many dogs, but she loved my little Peppy. And
oh,
yeah. And that's really how we became friends. And it just sort of grew from there. I mean, like I said, I respected her space. I mean, and after a while, I was like, okay, that is her.
How long ago was that?
Can I tell you, I was actually trying to think about this. I don't, at this point, I don't remember not knowing her.
Wow.
It was decades. And another funny story moving forward, but my youngest nieces, I have 6 nieces and 1 nephew, are almost 15. And I knew her way before my sister-in-law and brother even knew they were having them. So I honestly don't know. To answer your question, it's a blur.
My goodness. Wow.
And again, as we became friends, we had the same values. I'm borderline vegan vegetarian. So is she. I'm big into animal rescue. And we just had the same sense of humor. And this is actually really funny. When she was staying in, this is how close we became. She was staying in an extended stay place, and she actually had the key to my apartment. And if they didn't have the space for her, she's like, Ange. And she did call me Ange. So I love Ange. And my siblings call me Ange. So I don't hate it. It's like really cute. I love it. And when they didn't have space for her, and I came home one night and I'm like, oh my God, someone's on my couch. I'm like, oh my God, Loretta Swit is sleeping on my couch because they didn't have room for her at the place.
Depending on your perspective, that could be good or bad.
I'm thinking to myself, this is like the most random thing like ever. Like if child me had said, in 1972 when MASH came on, that Loretta Swit would be sleeping on my couch, I'd be like, that's crazy, like ever. Like it was just so rare. But she did. If they didn't have room for her, I'd be, she like, Ange, can I have your couch? I'm like, sure, take it, knock yourself out.
Okay. I have to ask, Harlan, did she ever come and sleep on your couch? Did you walk in and say, wait a minute, who's sleeping in my bed?
No, but she did stay in the guest room, and my other half came home one day and I'd forgotten to say anything and walked past the bedroom, came down to the kitchen and said, did you leave the Loretta Swit on the guest bed?
Oh,
That's great. So, Harlan, when did you meet Loretta?
Well, as opposed to Ange, mine was not New York. Mine was typically a Hollywood meeting.
Uh-huh.
We were introduced by Joanne Worley and Betty White through the Actors and Others for Animals organization. She was the vice president of the organization. And she found out I had just rescued 11 cats and that I had, over the years, 29 dogs over the years. And then she found out that I worked for Bob Hope and worked with the veterans programs. And next thing I knew, she was on the phone with me every morning, every night. And as friends for the Actors and Others. And then eventually when her book came out, we made it a professional arrangement. And she hired me to become PR.
Ah, okay. When did she get into your bed? Was it sooner or after that?
Well, she came to LA to do, we were going down to Palm Springs. They were honoring her.
Okay.
And so she came, stayed one night, and we drove down to Palm Springs for an event for a shelter.
Oh, well, was there anything that surprised you about this person, Loretta Swit?
Is that for Andrew or myself?
Well, both of you, actually. Let's start with Harlan because we're talking right now. So was there anything that was kind of, I know you've met and worked with a lot of very famous celebrities, but was there anything about Loretta Swit that you went, wow, Loretta's okay?
I never had to worry to think about what is she really thinking.
Here you go.
She would pretty much put it out there. You knew what her opinion on everything was, and I kind of liked that.
Yes. I think we're all familiar with that.
yeah.
Yeah. And how about you?
You know what? What struck me is how regular she really was. She was just one of the girls. Because, the total opposite of Harlan, I'm not in quote unquote the business. So I haven't worked with a lot of celebrities, and I had zero expectations. I'm just like, wow, this woman is really nice. And we have the same values, and we became friends. But she was just so loyal, and she is fun. I say is because to me, she'll always be here. But she is the funniest human being like ever. Like we used to laugh. We were just girlfriends hanging out like in sweatpants and watching TV and watching our favorite shows and snacking. And she loved to cook. So she would always cook for me. And my dog was always allowed over, and Peppy crossed the bridge with her munchie. But now I have Lola Bell, or she calls her Lolly. And yeah, that was the thing that struck me the most. And she was, when I lost my last doggie, she was again with her keys sitting on my sofa with snacks and treats and hugs. And she was just, one of the girls. I mean, it was always, I knew always, it's interesting because in the beginning of our friendship, it was always sort of like, oh, wow, that's Loretta Swit. She's on television. But sort of as we got closer and closer, it was like, wow, here's my friend. And she's also on television. Like the paradigm shifted. And that's what she wanted. Yeah. I mean, and she was really close with my family as well. Her and my mother were funny because my mother lives a block west of me and Loretta lived a couple of blocks east of me. So I always used to tell, and they're from the same generation. My mother's a couple of years older. I was like, oh my God, I have you guys in stereo. Cause I'd be like, I have everything in the same place. I want everything in the same place. I don't do technology. I'm like, do you guys like communicate before you call me? And she loved, I told you, my oldest niece is a nurse up at Mount Sinai. So she loved that. And the little ones, they're not so little anymore, but never heard of MASH. Never. They just knew her and they couldn't say Loretta. So they called her Fraletta.
Oh.
And then it became Auntie Fraletta because she couldn't have loved them more. She just couldn't have loved them more. And then she used to call them the Fralettas. Like, what are the Fralettas doing? Like, how are the Fralettas doing at school? And then obviously now they're in high school, so they can say Loretta. She's like, absolutely not. I'm always Auntie Fraletta. So they were like, okay.
Fraletta, isn't that a cheese sandwich? I think.
A Fraletta, yes.
Yeah, Fraletta is a cheese baked with, oh, well, maybe not.
Yeah. So she adored them, wanted to know what were they up to? What were they doing? And their real names have nothing to do with Fraletta. It's Rena and Margie, but they will forever be the Fralettas. And she absolutely adored them. And vice versa. They were crushed when we lost.
Of course. Harlan, do you have a specific fond memory of a moment or two?
I was going to say mine seemed to be real opposite of Aunt. I spent most of my time dressing her, as opposed to never sweats, whether it was for interviews, whether it was for award shows, whether it was for events. I seemed to spend most of my time trying to find gowns, shopping on gowns and jewelry and things for her to wear. She knew my family. They attended events that she was at and where she was honored. She loved my parents. My parents loved her. It's interesting. I was raised Quaker.
Really?
TV was very, very limited. For me, growing up, I was allowed the Waltons, Little House on the Prairie, Carol Burnett for a while, unless Harvey Korman came out in a dress. But MASH was oddly enough on the acceptable list.
Huh.
Interesting.
Despite the war angle of it, we were allowed MASH. So that was kind of a big deal that, I'd worked with Jamie and Gary and others, but having Loretta, it meant a lot to my parents to meet someone who they watched on a regular basis.
Oh, that's sweet. And when you worked with her in terms of dressing her and so forth, how did she behave? Was she in you said before she let you know what she thought? Is that kind of part of the process?
Harlan, this is a safe space. You can say
safe space.
Whatever you need to say.
It was easy when it came to finding things to purchase to wear. Not so much when I had a designer come in when I had her present at the Emmy Awards. We found something that was purchased that she was happy with and everything was great. But for the Oscars, I had a designer come in and make something for her. That proved to be an entirely different experience. And even when it was done, she wound up sewing something different to it and cutting part of it and putting a brooch on it. And even the designer later saw her wearing it, went, "That's not my gown."
And here's my attorney.
Wow.
What was the difference between Loretta Swit and Margaret Houlihan? Was there a big one, or were they similar? And what were those similarities, if there were similarities?
As far as I saw so many similarities. The early Margaret Houlihan didn't match her. Mm-hmm. The later Margaret Houlihan, I saw a lot of her in it. She spoke out for women. She spoke out for, which I think she did when she was on the show, if I'm not mistaken. You know better than I. She was constantly there because I worked for Bob Hope for so many years and did veteran programs. That bonded us in many ways. And she performed Christmas specials with Bob. I saw many, many similarities to her character in the later years, not so much the early years.
Mm-hmm. Ange, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Harlan 100,000%. First of all, she adored Margaret.
Yes.
And she did not want to be called Hot Lip. She said, she's more than one part of my anatomy. And as Harlan said, as the show, in the later years, she saw herself as important to stand up for women. You know, she was on the Cameo platform, which she loved, and she would say she called the women my gender sister. So she sort of felt herself aligned with women and felt a responsibility to sort of, you know, standing up for them. You know, and Harlan talked also about the show and what he was allowed to watch. And you sort of have to remember that the show was in the 70s and 80s, but it was back in the 50s that it actually took place. So it's a weird sort of paradigm, but she felt responsible for standing up for women. And, you know, you saw the empathy, and in real life, she was incredibly empathetic. I think she kind of, you know, made Margaret a little because she didn't want to be Hot Lips.
Yeah, so I had to remove the name Hot Lips on several press releases or getting approval for things. They would send me materials, promos for things, and I would have them remove the Hot Lips reference from what was going out. I did notice one I saw, it was as if I was seeing the show again. Remember the episode where the dog gets hit by a Jeep?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
When she lost a pet, or anyone could lose a pet, you could see the same reaction you saw on that show. Anytime someone had a loss of a Furby, she just felt it so internally.
yeah. I still have the voicemail that she left me 10 years ago when my little Peppy crossed the bridge, and she was as crushed as I was. She was her godmama. As a matter of fact, when I was doing some renovations and my Peppy was blind, she gradually lost her sight, and she would stay with Loretta, and Loretta would watch her and adored her. And she was crushed when she died, crushed.
You know, knowing her, and the other word I want to throw in here is passion, because Margaret Houlihan was passionate about whatever she was doing, whether it was a positive thing or it was a negative thing. There was passion there. As you point out, Harlan, you got word if something was wrong. It was passionate.
Yes, yeah, no.
Good or bad, there was passion.
Yeah. There's sometimes phone calls after an appearance that I wasn't in attendance for, or after an interview. If I got a call right afterwards, I go, okay, this is going to go one of two ways.
Yeah.
It was either really, really great, or she had a problem.
Yeah, I mean, she grocery shopped with passion. Like, we would go to the gourmet garage in our neighborhood, and she'd be like, you know, what did they do with the vegan pot stickers? You get the manager over here right now. Like, it was funny. I mean, they all knew her. They knew us, but she didn't let it go. She's like, people want these. Where are they? Get Tony over here right now. Where did they go?
Wow.
And then, you know, we used to like the pasta pomodoro, and then they stopped making that, and she was not happy and was not shy about letting that be known. So everything she did, as Harlan said, she did with passion, from grocery shopping to her characters, to her cameos, to the Comic-Cons. That was just who she was. I mean, I'm so blessed and lucky. She was so incredible. And it, like I said, it just happened in such a way that, you know, you'd never think, but she was really, truly one of a kind. And I remember and I laugh at some of the memories. She made a beautiful toast at my mom's 90th birthday party. I mean, she was really part of our family, but passionate. I mean, don't mess with her ziti and broccoli. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, no, the food was I was very careful. I was raised with a very, Iowa farm family, meat and potato family.
Mm-hmm.
Farthest thing you can imagine from vegan.
Yeah,
And so
right.
I was always very, very cautious of what I was laying around the house, or what I had in the refrigerator, or because she would look.
Oh, yeah.
She would look in the refrigerator. And mostly for my health purposes. She was, oh, you shouldn't have this, and throw it away. So she had very much concern for those she loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was her relationship with fans when she would meet fans on the street? I know that she attended a lot of Comic-Cons, and Harlan, you were with her at many events. What was her relationship with the fans that would come up to her?
I mean, she was always very generous with them. I think there were moments when she would semi-politely, she was in the middle of a serious conversation with someone and someone tried to interrupt,
Mm-hmm.
she would put them in their place, not to a point where they were disappointed that they'd met Margaret. But she also would say, now's not the moment. You see, I'm talking. But yeah, and Comic-Cons and those kind of things, which I hate attending. I actually have it in my contract. I do not have to attend those. When I have attended them and when she was there, she was great. I mean, she gave them exactly what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
She was very businesslike. the business end of it had to be taken care of for the social part of it to run smoothly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How come you don't like Comic-Cons? Just out of curiosity.
Because all too often I have to be the bad guy.
Mm.
When fans want to, they try and get that selfie when they're in between the green room and the desk, or they want to talk to someone forever and a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one who has to say, I'm sorry, I need to get her or him to the next thing. And I have to be the one, and they get mad at me.
Right.
I've been thrown up against the wall by fans.
Wow.
Because, because of, whether it was with Julie Newmar or whether I've been thrown up against the wall because I didn't let them have their moment or their extended moment, or let them take those selfies or get that autograph. They're there for a reason. They know they're supposed to pay for those.
Yeah.
If they're on the street, that's a completely different scenario.
Sure.
You're not attending something and the rules are completely different.
Right.
We would have dinners often that people would stop by the table, but I think those always went very smoothly. She was very good about, no, take it from over there, right there. Now flash, turn. Okay. Now do it from there. She would direct the photo.
Yes. Yeah, I did go to Comic-Cons with her too. And she had to look at every picture that everyone took.
Yes.
She'd be like, no, delete that one. That's terrible. Harlan, to your point, she would insist on the flash. People were like, no, it's bright enough. She's like, nope, listen to me. It's not, put the flash on. And the thing, again, to your point, Harlan, which she did, if somebody was taking a picture from far away, she'd put her hand up and she'd be like, nope. Because she was being fair. She said, at the Comic-Cons, if people are paying for this, you can't have one for free. It's not fair.
Oh, yeah. No. Absolutely.
Right. And again, what I would try to explain to people as well is if a picture of you or I goes on the internet and we got, food in our teeth and, our hair's in the eye, no one cares. But if there's a picture of her that's sort of untoward, it's like, then everyone's like, oh, Loretta Swit, she looks terrible. No, because you took not a great picture when she told you not to, and she knows how to take a picture.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I had to retake a photo.
Oh.
No, delete that one. No,
Yeah.
delete that one.
Yeah.
Delete that one.
She would grab people's phones, be like, and laughing. She'd be like, "No, that's terrible. We'll do it again. Don't worry about it. You come over here. You stand here." And in the photo ops in the Comic-Con, she'd be like, "Okay." And Jeff, when you and Jamie were there too, she'd be like, "Okay, you stand here. Okay, no, you come over here. No, you stand here. You." And it was great. And but she loved doing those. Like, I can't tell you. And I used to tell her as well, with her social media and with the Comic-Cons, is like at first, she liked the cons, but the social media. I said, Loretta, MASH has been off for 50 years. The only way in the past that people could contact you was writing a letter, putting a stamp on it, and hoping that you got it. This way, it's sort of like, the dam is open and people can just share the love because that's what they've been wanting to do for decades. I mean, I know for a fact that her DMs and her comments and things that came through on the website, she would share those with her MASH family because that's how special it was. And she was the utmost professional. Like if the celebrity signing table opened at 10 o'clock a.m. till 7 p.m., she was there at 9:59 a.m. with the Sharpie open.
Mm-hmm.
And she did not leave until everybody was signed. And she didn't take a potty break, which meant I didn't take a potty break either because, and some people, it's, and again, they would, take a break. That she never took breaks.
I think her favorite thing was when women would come to her, especially if they said, I became a nurse because of you.
Mm.
Oh, my God.
That was her absolute, bar none, favorite thing to hear.
You got it.
And just that they pursued what they wanted to do, but the fact that they becoming a nurse just resonated with her so much that she had made that impact on someone's life, and she was great with veterans. I mean, there are those, and Margaret's that way. There's a host of others, but Loretta is definitely a veteran. She'd bend over backwards.
Yep.
To accommodate whatever it was they needed.
Absolutely, those are her four sort of things: rescue, veterans, veganism, and fans. And the other thing that she loved as well is the generations of MASH watchers. That made her so happy that, I watch MASH. Now I watched it with my children, and now I watch it with my grandchildren. I mean, it just made her heart so full.
And I think she had a real dedication to truth. So many conversations that I hear, when I was sitting with her and people would be talking and somebody would say something and there was just a smidgen of phony baloney to what they said, she would say, "No, that's not
Oh.
right. That is not right. There's what's right."
Yeah.
And, that's going back to the passion, but she's telling the truth. She was trying to say, no, this is real. What you're saying, even though you think it's okay, it's really not, because this is the truth.
She was about as straight shooter as you could get.
Yeah, she was.
And she did not suffer fools lightly. I will tell you that right now.
No.
I learned that the hard way and right in the beginning, that if something happened that was, I don't want to say a mistake, but tell her how it is and we'll fix it and we'll figure it out and we'll move on. But don't hem and haw. Don't try to make up a story, because then it would not be a good thing. Let's just put it that way. You did not want to incur the wrath of Loretta Swit if you told her a fib or if you fudged on the truth. And that was not a pretty picture.
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. She had I think that another passion of hers was beyond MASH and TV, was her stage career.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She loved characters. She loved playing Gooch in Mame. One of my clients was Angela Lansbury, and they could talk forever about Mame. She loved playing characters, and quite frankly, the less beautiful they were, the better. Sometimes she played Eleanor Roosevelt and loved playing. Eleanor was not the most attractive woman in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did too. So that certainly the truth to that.
You played Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah, I mean, it worked.
It's incredible.
She reveled in being able to create a character on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was amazing. She did a one-woman show of Eleanor up in Forestburg years ago, and she asked me to run lines with her, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm running lines with Loretta Swit. She's an Emmy Award winner. I was like freaking out because I'm not an actor or anything like that. And we would sit outside and, at our little diner around the corner, and it was like 38 pages of dialogue. I'm lucky I remember my name from one day to the next. And I'm like going through the lines, and she'd be like, Anne, you missed the 3 pages back. I was like, what? She was so amazing. But the thing that blew me away the most, the words became Eleanor. To see someone of her caliber creating such an important historical figure, I was so humbled. I just couldn't believe it. Half the time I wasn't even paying attention to the words because I was watching her. I'm like, oh my God, I have a private audience with Eleanor Roosevelt. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I got to go back to the words. But I did see her do Mame up in the Catskills at the theater. I saw her do Love Lost What I Wore. And this was another one of her favorites. I saw her do Shirley Valentine. And one time I was sitting in her living room and I said, Loretta, could you still do Shirley Valentine? Do you remember this? She literally was sitting in sweatpants with her dog and broke out into Shirley Valentine in character. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I got nothing after.
That was the first time I ever saw her in person, was a production of Shirley Valentine. She brought it here to our local university, and she was incredible.
She also had different rules for stage and what you do and what you don't do. And I remember I saw her in 6 Dance Lessons with David Ingle, and I overheard someone, I thought they were kidding. In intermission, they said, I'm going to go backstage and say hello to Loretta.
Oh, no.
And I thought about that, went, they're serious. And I tried to catch up with them to stop them. I got there in time to hear, get out. She's in character.
Yeah.
Don't bother her now.
Really?
Yes.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll and she loved acting.
Yes.
The craft of acting. And when I've been watching MASH a lot more since Ryan and I have been doing this podcast, because I didn't watch it a lot because I worked there and then you kind of move on.
Yeah.
But I've been watching it a lot lately, and you really see the craft that she had. It has thoroughly impressed me. I mean, some of the scenes and the things that she did in those scenes, I told her this once, that watching her and Larry Linville do those scenes in her tiny little cramped space, the dialogue that they had and the physicality that they had was like a ballet in there. And this is like a tiny, this is like acting in your closet and trying to move around in your closet and say interesting things and say correct things and get timing down and move props and throw them at each other. This was truly magnificent. It was a dance. And through that dialogue, though, because I'd stand there and watch them, and through that dialogue, I saw that woman. And I'm going to say this, it made me a better guy because I listened to the words that she said and I heard the words that she said. And certainly there were writers who wrote them, but through her craft and her ability, it got through to me.
Wow.
Hopefully it got through to other men as well, but it did. It gave me, insight into a lot of personal things and a lot of relationships. So
I think one of the other things we didn't hit on, her passion was art.
Oh,
Mhm.
As an artist, whenever she would donate, a lot of times she would donate to charities. She would do an artwork of someone's pet. They could auction off and she would do, but she had to have photos of all angles of the animal.
yeah, I have
Yeah.
2 photos, and this was the rules for the photo: no teeth, no tongue.
I've heard that myself, actually, but
Those are rules for my photos too.
Yeah.
No teeth, no tongue.
No
get
tongue. Those are her rules. I'm like, but again, going back to what you said, Jeff, watching her act was really a masterclass.
It was. It
And
was.
my dad, God rest his soul, he always used to say the good ones make it look easy. And boy, oh boy, she
Mhm.
did, but she was so gifted like that. And again, Harlan, back to your art point, I mean, she has a new edition art book out, and it just was sort of delivered right before she left us. And I mean, and again, she does have a website where you can get the books.
And the proceeds go to charity.
Also, again, Harlan, expound on what you said. She was into creating. Her art book is all her paintings and then what she thought about the animals. And she created a perfume, her rollerball perfume.
And her jewelry.
Her jewelry line, yes, her Swit jewelry line. She just loved to create. And I didn't know her in her needlepoint phase, but apparently she wrote a book on needlepoint. And in her apartment, she had some needlepoint pillows that she made. I mean, she loved creating.
I think the only area that she had difficult dealing with was technology.
Yes, she had.
I asked her once to do a charity online during COVID. We did a fundraiser. We did a Hollywood Squares for the Hollywood Museum. We called it Hollywood Museum Squares. And she was on with Lonnie Anderson and Rich Little and a host of other stars. And it took us a while to get her square up. And Ange, if it hadn't been for you, most of her stuff would not have happened.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Absolutely. She was great with the what do you call it? The cameos.
Oh my God. Loved it.
Yeah. But getting her, I remember I was on for a little bit when Alan had his podcast.
Yes.
And he brought on Jamie, Michael, and her. And the 3 were on, and it was hysterical. She would be on camera, but no voice. And then camera would disappear and voice would be there. And you could hear all the all the language
Yeah.
of frustration of not being able to get it to work. I kept thinking they should have aired the setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She used to call herself, she's like, I'm such a tech duh. I'm like, no, you're just like mental blocking. You're shutting down and you're not letting, but it's true. She's like, Ange, can you come over? I got to do a Zoom for this. Ange, can you come over? And one time I was because I had some apps on my phone that she used. And I was trying to explain to her what she's like, well, can't you just she did also, she did not take no for an answer. She did not understand why something could not be done. I was like, Loretta, after I upload this, that's it. The transaction is done. It's over. She's like, well, can't you just, and I was like, no, this is how, and I was very methodical because there are certain things I don't know and I don't want people to, give me a hard time. So I tried to explain it to her. I was so proud of myself. I went step by step by step. And I looked at it, I'm like looking for any sign of recognition. I'm like, did I do this right? And she stopped. She's like, Ange, you're so cute. I'm like, okay, where's she going with this? Because she goes, because you think that I have any, drop the F-bomb here, clue of what you just said. I'm like, okay, I will just skip right past this and I will just not bother next time. But yeah.
I mean, she was a guest on our podcast several times, and I think that's a tremendous accomplishment.
Yes.
Because I liken getting Loretta on Zoom to those scenes in movies where they're launching a nuclear missile and they have to have 2 different keys turned at the exact same time by 2 different people. That to me is what it was like getting Loretta on Zoom.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Got to have the right lighting. I got her a ring light. Have the right light. Still with the photos, but
Yeah.
we did one interview and I forgot which one it was, but she didn't like the angle. So I had to keep bringing in, books and boxes, and we're going to lower the computer by a half an inch and we're going to raise it. I'm like, Loretta, you look fabulous. And we've spent more time setting this up than the interview will take, but okay.
Or how many times did we would get requests? She couldn't be at an event where they were honoring someone. She couldn't be there. So they asked, would she submit a video? And she would call and say, okay, what did you think? I go, all 20 were fine.
Oh, God. And she actually thought it was funny that she was like, she didn't even try. She's like, I don't care. She's like, I don't really care. Like, I've been through my life thus far without, she goes, that's why I have you. I'm like, okay, I'll take that.
Oh, bless you. I know you were instrumental in getting her on for our podcast. So we thank you for that.
Yeah,
of course, it was my pleasure.
One thing we haven't talked about, which I think is an incredibly important thing having to do with Loretta Swit, is her humor. She had a tremendous sense of humor, and obviously that showed through in her acting ability. And the crap that she was so incredibly good at. But that humor, sometimes I'd be talking to her on the phone and she'd say things to me and it would just knock me on the floor. It's just, where did that come from? Wow. Really, really funny person.
I was doing a Zoom with because I handle the Emmy Awards for the daytime, and she happened to be at the house and I was on doing a meeting. And she needed something that was behind me, and there was no way to avoid not being on camera. And she walked on, and I thought she'd sneak on and sneak off. And as she grabbed it, she turned and went, cameo, and ran off.
Oh my God, that is so her. But she was funny. And it's funny because, yes, she called me Ange, but all our texts and things are like, Bubala Chachkala Mamala. Like, that's what we would call each other. I don't even know how that came up. It was like, hi, Bubala Chachkala Mamala. She's like, wait, are you Bubala or am I Bubala? I'm like, we could both be Bubala. It's okay. And then we used to say noise. So everything was noise. Is this noise? Because my nieces used to say that when they were little. So she thought that was so cute, which it was. And we would also say toy vey, because I texted her one time like oy vey and it autocorrected to toy vey. So that was it from now on. It was everything was toy vey. I'm like, okay.
Oh, God.
Our own little language there, which is very funny.
And generosity. She was very generous with her time and her feelings. And if you needed something, she was right there. I've talked to her a few times and, I've said something, oh gosh, I don't feel good about this. And, I got a 20-minute, hey, well, this is why, and here's what you're going to do. And here's how I can help you. And if you need help, don't hesitate. And let me get you this, or let me send you that.
Yeah.
She was a remarkable person.
Yeah.
She really was. I'm very grateful that I had an opportunity to work with her so many years, and then extremely grateful that after that, we had a much closer relationship and a much closer friendship through those miserable Comic-Cons that her and Jamie and I all had a good time at. But you guys, you've been terrific here. And I know, Harlan, you've got something to go to, and we don't want to keep you too long. And Ange, you probably have something to go to. And if you don't, you should. But is there anything both of you would like to say, and say, hey, this is what I was left with. This is what I learned going forward from this person. I'll start with you, Harlan.
Yes, I learned a lot. I learned how to speak up. Now, I've always been good about speaking up for other people. Well, I know what my clients want. I know what they need. I know what they need to do something. I know what their preferences are. I know I have no problem speaking up for what they need. I have less power and for speaking up for what I need, and that proof is in my relationships. She was always very, you don't like that, do you? No, tell them, especially politically.
Yeah.
If I had an issue with something political, she taught me how to stand up for myself. Mm-hmm. She was very protective of me to a point that she wanted me to be protective of myself. Mm-hmm. She thought people took advantage of me too much, to the point that she thought one person was taking advantage of me so bad she wanted me to call an attorney. And she called me with an attorney reference simply because she felt I was being taken advantage of. And you do not take advantage of Loretta Swit's friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think the process that she was trying to impart and the way she was doing it is very similar to what you see in Margaret Houlihan when she has something that she's trying to impart to somebody that is a positive thing for them. It's that same passion, it's that same thing that she recognizes in someone else or some other situation that she is passionate about helping make better. And that's what I hear you saying anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but That's what I heard you say.
Yeah, and I actually feel the same way. She was an incredibly supportive friend, and she taught me, again, I sort of mirroring what Harlan is saying, to speak up and speak out for myself, to work on setting better boundaries, because I'm horrible at that. I'm working on it. I'm getting better thanks to Loretta. And Jeff, to what you said earlier, she said what was right and wanted what was right done. I don't want to say she didn't care who she pissed off, but it needed to be right. And she wanted her friends taken care of, and she wanted her friends to be the best selves they could be. And it's funny because she went to high school in Jersey, and her little group there was called the Birds, and she loved them. And one of the things that she said was the saddest about losing her friends, she said, when you lose your friends, you lose your past. Not just your friends. She goes, because you can't call them up and say, like, hey, do you remember when this happened? Do you remember when that happened? And that's kind of sort of how I feel. Like I can't call her up and be like, hey. Yeah. So I take all the wisdom that she imparted and the love and the friendship and I just try to move forward with that. And, I consider myself just so blessed and lucky to have had somebody, like sister from another mister, as they say,
It may, I don't mean this to sound negative, but when I'm grateful and sad at the same time, in the early morning when she passed, the night before, she called me at 11 p.m. my time, 2 a.m. her time, because she couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
And I love that she knew she could call. She didn't say, am I calling you too late? She knew it was okay.
Yeah.
I have emails and, voice messages of every single time of day and night. I mean, that's what being her friend meant. And if you were her friend, you were in for thick and thin. And I had dinner. I had the ziti and broccoli there that Saturday night. And, when I left, I mean, we were there late. We would just chit chat, and we used to watch TV. She loved Columbo. She loved Monk. She was so excited. She got to meet Sharona, the actor, Bitty Schramm. She texted me the picture. She's like, oh my God, I got to meet her. She loved SUV. We just watched TV and we were chit-chatting. I was there that Saturday, like I said, with the ziti and broccoli. And of course I had to buy an extra bag of broccoli because they never put enough broccoli in the ziti. And it was getting late. We just talked, and you don't even realize the time when you're talking to her. And I said, Loretta, I gotta go. I gotta feed Lullabelle. And she's like, oh, you're not going to stay for dessert? And I'm like, you'll owe me. And that was sort of how we left it. It was like, love you. And
Well, you guys, it's been a real treat to do this.
Yes.
I hope it's been as much of a treat for you too, because it's been a treat for me, and I'm sure Ryan, just to kind of relive some of these things and hear, the behavior of somebody we all loved and will continue to love and will miss. And that's just kind of what you have to do. But she was a wonderful person, and she's in all of our hearts and will be forever. So thank you.
Yes, this was really special. And I'm glad that I got to share this and people can know her a little bit more. And thank you.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This has been a very special time. And thank you for listening to this episode of MASH Matters. We'll be back with a brand new episode in a couple of weeks. Until then, here's looking up your old address.